It's a Friday night at Swayze Field in Oxford, Mississippi, the beginning of Week 7 of Southeastern Conference play. A top 25 matchup. Number 13, South Carolina, visiting number 19, Ole Miss. We welcome you to the ballpark. Alongside Billy Kirkpatrick, I'm Richard Cross. Thanks for being with us. Two teams that both lost series in league play last weekend. LSU won the first two against Ole Miss in Oxford, but there was no shortage of drama in Game 3 when the Tigers and the Rebels wrapped things up. Trailing 9-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning, Peyton Chatagnier got it going with a 3-run bomb off the back wall of the bullpen. Then it was the freshman T.J. McCants going deep with a grand slam over the center field wall to tie the game at 9. And then in the bottom of the 9th inning, freshman Kemp Alderman walking it off with a bomb to right field. Ole Miss completes the comeback. Trailing 9-1 in the 8th, they win it 10-9. South Carolina had a midweek game. Ole Miss was off in the midweek because of finals and graduation this weekend. Gamecocks got a win over the Citadel, and Billy, a monster weekend for both of these ball clubs.
That's exactly right. Both teams coming off tough series losses, looking to get going right in the right direction again. A big weekend for them and trying to host regionals down the line.
And we'll see if ultimately the results of this weekend mean difference in hosting or not hosting. Ole Miss glad to have Gunnar Hoglund back on the mound. Missed last week's start with soreness. The junior from Hudson, Florida, has been good all season long.
Gunnar Hoglund's a true ace. He commands great. He combines great command with great stuff. He'll be drafted this summer. He just needs to get going early, attack early, get in his groove, do what he does best.
1-2 in 5 starts in league play, 3-2 overall. His SEC ERA is 2.5. This is the batting lineup that he will face for South Carolina, a team that kind of lives and dies by the long ball. 56 home runs on the year, 23 of them in SEC play, but the Gamecocks hitting just .261 as a team and .229 in the SEC. But boy, have they got a table setter at the top of the lineup in Brady Allen. Hits for average, hits for power, and he can run. Leads his team in stolen bases as well. We'll see Brady Allen to start things off. Defensively, Ole Miss with Graham in left, McCants in center, and Hayden Leatherwood in right. Justin Bench, Gonzalez, Peyton Chatagnier, and Cale Baker third to first on the infield, with Hayden Dunhurst catching and Gunnar Hoglund on the mound. Beautiful Friday night for baseball in north central Mississippi. Mid-70s, very little wind as we get things started. Home plate umpire Eric Gaucher says play ball. And Gunnar Hoglund back on the hill after missing last week. Misses up with the breaking ball.
Shows you the respect he has for Allen to start the game off with a breaking ball there.
So Brady Allen, a junior from Lakeland, Florida. 11 home runs, 33 runs batted in this year. Hoglund gets a strike on the outside corner there. In SEC play, 7 home runs and 18 driven in for Brady Allen. A 1-1. Outside for ball 2. Fastball at 94 there from Gunnar Hoglund. Count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes, working at the bottom of the strike zone there. A little bit smaller crowd tonight than we've seen for the last couple of SEC weekends. This was finals week in Oxford. A lot of students have gone home. Got graduation activities happening this weekend for the 2021 graduating class. Actually have another graduation next weekend for the 2020 graduating class. 2-2 lifted to right. This one's pretty well hit. Leatherwood to the warning track. Circles and makes the catch just shy of the wall. Brady Allen flirting with his 8th SEC home run right out of the gate.
That's a good play there by Leatherwood. A lot of outfielders get a little nervous around the wall. He does a good job of getting back to the ball and then coming in to make the catch.
Hayden Leatherwood was involved in a collision with McCants in center field of Game 1 last weekend. That was a Thursday night game against LSU. See T.J. McCants out in center field. Good to see him not just in the lineup as a DH, but playing in right field as well, as Josiah Seitler swings and misses at the fastball for strike 1. Hoglund now working ahead. No balls and 2 strikes. The 2-hole hitter Seitler hitting .278 for the year. Gunnar Hoglund made his season debut. It's Texas Tech season opener down in the college baseball showdown in Arlington. Went 5 1/3 in that game, picked up the win. He gets a 3-pitch strikeout of Josiah Seitler. Steady dose of fastballs there.
You see here the catcher setting a little bit off the plate, wanting to throw it just outside. He hits his spot. Shows you also how much the South Carolina lineup respects Gunnar's slider, that he was just a little behind on the fastball there.
88th strikeout of the season for Gunnar Hoglund. Had been leading the league in strikeouts and then missed last week's start. He and Jack Leiter spent the entire season at the top of that category, and he opens with a breaking ball, strike 1 to Wes Clark. This is a guy that has got monster power, the junior from Forest, Virginia. Hitting .280 for the year with 15 home runs, but in SEC play, 100 points lower, a .180 average, and only 3 of his 15 home runs have come against league competition.
We just saw both of Gunnar's sliders there. He has one where he starts it over the middle of the plate and throws it for a strike, and he has one where he starts it outside and tails off looking for the swing and miss.
Hoglund's wins this year have come against Texas Tech, ULM, and Auburn. He took a no decision against Alabama. Took a loss at Florida in game 1. No decision against Arkansas, and then he lost his last start at Mississippi State. 5-2 was the final in that game. And Hoglund ahead in the count, 2 balls and a strike. 2-2.
Good pitching on his hands there.
Ball had some heavy downward action. Hoglund trying to have a 1-2-3 top of the first. And now Clark asks for time. Looked like a little confusion there between Hoglund and Dunhurst on pitch that Gunnar Hoglund wanted to throw. Fly out from Allen to start the game, and then a strikeout of Seitler on 3 pitches. Here the 2-2 to Clark. It's a fastball down and away. Can't get Clark to go fishing. And it's a full count to the 3-hole hitter Wes Clark, the catcher for South Carolina. Gamecocks 26-12 on the year, 11-7 in the SEC. Swing and a miss. Clark late on the fastball. Back-to-back strikeouts from Hoglund after a flyout to start it. Gamecocks go 1-2-3 in the top of the first. Junior Thomas Farr, the right-hander, takes the mound for South Carolina. He's from Tyrone, Georgia, 6 feet tall, and Thomas Farr is 2-4 on the year. He's got a 3.36 ERA. Billy, what do you want to see from Farr early in this game?
In order to have success against this Rebel lineup, he's going to need to attack with all his pitches. It's not enough just to have one pitch against the Rebel lineup. You're going to have to mix velocities. You're going to have to mix locations in order to keep them off balance. This is a guy that creates good downhill angle with his fastball and has a good, powerful vertical breaking ball. So expect to see a lot of both of those pitches tonight.
Here's the lineup for Ole Miss that Thomas Farr will deal with. Jacob Gonzalez, Peyton Chatinier, and Kevin Graham at the top of the order. Hayden Dunhurst, Justin Vinch, and TJ McCants, who had the grand slam that tied things up against LSU on Saturday. Then Baker, Leatherwood, and Kemp Alderman, who a week and a half ago was redshirting. And then he got a midweek start, and then he hit a walk-off home run, the first of his college career, to give Ole Miss a win against LSU. Number 1 offense in the SEC in league play. Myers, Allen, and Eister in the outfield for South Carolina, with Malone at third, George Khalil at short, Braylon Wimmer at second, David Mendham is the first baseman, Wes Clark catching, and again Thomas Farr on the mound. Just made the announcement inside the stadium a couple of minutes ago that Ole Miss wide receiver Elijah Moore had been taken by the New York Jets with the 34th pick of the draft. So early second round and some excitement for Elijah Moore. There you see the Fort Lauderdale, Florida native, second round, 34th pick. So he did not have to wait long. There was so much discussion about Elijah Moore as a first round choice. People thought that maybe Titans at 22. Ended up not going last night in the first round. Had to be a relief and an exciting moment for Elijah Moore. Jacob Gonzalez gets ahead in the count. 2-0 to the freshman shortstop for the Rebels from Glendora, California. (3-0) now to Gonzalez. I'm not sure that I can remember a 3-0 count to Jacob Gonzalez to start a game this season.
He's pretty aggressive early in the count, but then again, I would be too if I had his swing. So
you see the 3-0. There's a strike to Gonzalez at 94 miles an hour. Thomas Farr, the game one starter this weekend for South Carolina. It's a 5-pitch walk to Gonzalez to start the game. Farr can bring it with the fastball. He sits in the low to mid 90s, but is topped out at 98 this year. Throws his slider in the low to mid 90s and also has a changeup in the low, or excuse me, not in the low to mid 90s with the slider, low to mid 80s with the slider. And then a changeup in the low 80s as well. Slider in the low 90s would be impressive.
There's not many people with sliders in the low 90s. The only one I can think of is maybe Jacob deGrom.
It's worked out well for him. First pitch strike to Peyton Chatinier. Ole Miss had some success last weekend against LSU with getting guys on base early in innings. The problem was getting that big hit. At least it was in game one and in game two. This one bounces in for ball one to Chatinier. And really, so much of success in baseball is tied to timely hitting.
That's exactly right. And when you have runners on base, putting the ball in play is so important. You have to really battle. If you get to 2 strikes, you can't take the strikeout.
Two and one now. We were talking to some folks from South Carolina before the game began, and Farr's been really good. The only time that he's really gotten himself into trouble is when he's had control issues and has dealt with some walks. Walks the leadoff man and is behind in the count to Chatinier at 2-1. This ball hit a mile into the air on the right side of the infield. Wimmer moving to his left and makes the catch at the back edge of the dirt for the first out of the inning. So runner on first and 1 out now for Ole Miss. Take a look at Wimmer there at second base. Kevin Graham steps in, the junior from O'Fallon, Missouri. Up to 8 home runs on the season. 35 runs batted in and a .335 average for the junior left fielder. Graham waves at the off-speed pitch. You got an aggressive fastball hitting team. That changeup can be quite the neutralizer.
That's a great first pitch there from Farr. Knows Graham is looking to be aggressive, great hitter. So to be able to pull the string and throw a changeup early in the count.
It's a ground ball up the middle. That's a base hit. So it went right back to the fastball, and Kevin Graham was ready for it. First hit of the game for either team belongs to Kevin Graham.
And this is what makes Kevin Graham such a good hitter, is not only does he have the power to hit home runs, but he stays on that ball and hits it right back up the middle. Hitter, good swing, hits for average.
And Kevin Graham has now reached base safely in 34 straight games. First and second, 1 down for Hayden Dunhurst. Rebel catcher batting in the cleanup spot of the order. Batting average in SEC play actually higher than for the entire season. He's hitting .341 for the year, .358 in the league.
Also has a .482 on base percentage this year for a catcher in a premium defensive position like that. That's incredibly impressive and incredibly valuable.
Gonzalez at second, Graham at first. One out. 2-0 now to Hayden Gunnar. 1-1 as that pitch was called a strike. Eric Gaucher, the home plate umpire.
We're really seeing Farr use his changeup against left-handers early in this game.
See the number with runners in scoring position there, a .375 average for Dunhurst. The 1-1. And it's now 1-2.
Let's see if Farr elevates with the fastball here or goes back again to the changeup.
Head in the count, trying to pick up the second out of the inning with first and second and one down. Leadoff walk to Gonzalez. Chatinier popped out, and then Kevin Graham singled up the middle. Chopped it foul.
Neither went to the breaking ball there.
Kind of left it up, and Dunhurst kind of went up to get a piece of that and stay alive at the plate. This Ole Miss offense leading or at the top of a bunch of offensive categories. Rebels lead the league in batting average, hitting .306. That is 32 points better than Vanderbilt at .274 in the SEC.
And what allows them to do that is not just the guys at the top of the order, but the depth of the Rebel lineup. You have guys in the 7, 8, 9 holes that are having good productive years, and that allows you to have such high team statistics.
First six in the order, all hitting above .300 for Ole Miss. Then you've got Cale Baker at .288, Hayden Leatherwood at .265, and then Alderman, really small sample size at this point, at .250. Rebels also lead the league in slugging percentage, on-base percentage, hits, runs batted in, doubles. Two and two now to Dunhurst.
What's impressive too is they can beat you in a number of ways. They can beat you with the long ball or with hitting with average.
See the side-by-side numbers for these two teams coming into the ball game. Those are season numbers. In South Carolina, the 56 home runs. That's been such a big part of their offense when they've had success. 2-2 to Dunhurst, reaches out and rolls it through the right side. Past Wimmer, diving. Jacob Gonzalez going to try to come around to score. Throw comes to the plate, but not in time, and Ole Miss leads it 1-0 on the RBI single from Hayden Dunhurst.
So many left-handed hitters are good at pulling that ball through the 4-3 hole, and you see him stay on the ball and just find a hole there. Sometimes putting the ball in play like that is what you need to do to score runs.
And Wimmer, the second baseman for South Carolina, was kind of shaded up the middle a little bit, and he wasn't playing deep at second base. It wasn't quite even with the bat. It was kind of midway and just took the angle away.
Looked like he was kind of in double play depth there and didn't really have the angle to get to that ball. If he's deep, maybe like there would be with nobody out and nobody on with a runner, with a left-handed hitter up, you tend to see him more in that 4-3 hole.
Skylar Meade is the pitching coach for South Carolina. 2007 Louisville grad. And a quick conversation with Farr, who really has maybe some control issues with the leadoff walk and falling behind to Chatinier, but a couple of ground balls.
It always feels like when you walk the leadoff batter that comes back and gets you. Because like we said, a couple ground balls here, but the leadoff batter that was walked really put them in this position.
So a walk, a pop out, and then back-to-back singles from Graham and Dunhurst have given Ole Miss a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first. Top 25 matchup, game one between number 13 South Carolina and number 19 Ole Miss. Justin Bench to the plate for the first time tonight. Rebel third baseman, a right-on-right matchup here. And he gets a breaking ball for a strike. Three long balls, 22 driven in this year for Justin Bench. And he hits it to second. Should have been a double play. Instead, E4, and Ole Miss has the bases loaded. Well, that's a tough break for South Carolina because that was a ball that was easily going to be rolled for a pair in the middle.
Definitely. Pitcher struggling a little bit. This is one you really want to turn, get out of the inning, limit his pitch count, stick with the one-run lead. But all of a sudden there's a base loaded, one out with T.J. McCants coming to the plate.
And Billy, I don't know if you saw that on the replay or not. I'm not sure what Wimmer saw off the bat, but that ball was hit directly to him, and he just immediately shuffled to his right and then kind of reached back down to his left.
Yeah, he kind of opened up there when it seemed like he could have maybe gotten in front of it and just turned. Maybe he was thinking about the throw before he caught the ball.
So bases loaded for T.J. McCants, who went deep in his last at-bat. That was on Saturday afternoon against LSU. It was a game-tying grand slam in the bottom of the eighth inning. It was the fourth home run of the season for the freshman McCants from Cantonment, Florida. And look at those numbers over the last 15. Hitting almost 400 with 2 triples, 3 home runs, and 11 driven in.
Really impressive numbers from a freshman in his first playing time in the SEC.
And McCants lifts it to right field. Eister will make the catch in shallow right. That will allow 2 base runners to move up. Kevin Graham comes home to score. Dunhurst goes to third on the tag, and Ole Miss leads 2-0 on the sacrifice fly and 19th RBI of the year for T.J. McCants.
Good swing for McCants there. Got a fastball he could handle early in the count. Hit the ball well. Gets the job done. Looks like a fastball low. A lot of lefties like that pitch. And then good base running by Graham to instantly realize that wasn't going to get down, get back to the bag. Dunhurst moves up as well, tags and gets to third.
So now South Carolina trying to limit the damage with a couple of runs scored in the bottom of the first. And Cale Baker goes after the first pitch fastball for strike one.
That was a little bit of risky base running from Dunhurst to tag to get to third with the strong arm in right. But now so valuable because the ball in the dirt, it takes out with two outs, it takes out. Pitcher might be less comfortable throwing a breaking ball here, and catcher certainly got to block and keep a ball from getting to the backstop.
Cale Baker hits it into center field. Allen kind of broke flat and then goes back, and he's able to run it down and make the catch for the third out of the inning. Ole Miss gets a couple of runs on 2 hits. There was a South Carolina error. We'll be back. Welcome again to Swayze Field. Low 70s with a light wind out of the north for game one between South Carolina and Ole Miss. Rebels striking for a couple of runs in the bottom of the first inning to jump out to a 2-0 lead. Richard Cross, Billy Kirkpatrick with you on a beautiful Friday night. Start of week number 7 in SEC play. Mark Kingston in his 4th season in Columbia, 103 wins, 70 losses, 12th season overall as the head coach. He's got 376 career wins. Head coach at USF. We're coming to South Carolina. First pitch strike to Andrew Eister. The 0-1 to Eister. It's called strike 2, and you see the reaction from Andrew Eister. Thought that ball was down or in or down and in.
That fastball is so tough on a right-hander because it doesn't look as far inside as it is. It tails in at the last second.
1 ball and 2 strikes now to Andrew Eister. Just off the outside corner of the breaking ball there, and the count goes to 2-2.
It's a tough pitch to lay off of, a breaking ball that starts on the plate, ends off the plate. Good job by Eisler to lay off that.
2-2. Ground ball past bench, diving forward at third. First hit of the game for South Carolina. That one was hit sharply by Eister. And the Gamecocks have the leadoff man on here in the second.
Good piece of hitting here by Eister. Takes a low and in fastball and just stays on it and hits it through the shortstop third base hole. Hoglund's a tough pitcher to get a hit off of with 2 strikes.
There's David Mendham, the junior first baseman from Canada. Going back to the weekend against LSU, 4 for 9. Had a triple and a home run. South Carolina lost game 1 in that series 5-1. And they played a pair of 7-inning games. Doubleheader on April the 17th. See 7 runs batted in the last 10 games for Mendham. Cues that one foul. The count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. So that was 2 weekends ago in league play. Bounced back and won game 2, 4-2. And I think they were down 2-0 in the 6th inning of that game. Put 4 runs on the board, got the win, and then just rolled in game 3 of the series. Won that 9-0 to get the series win in Baton Rouge. Ball and a strike. Mendham now behind in the count. Last weekend, South Carolina hosted number 1 Arkansas. They lost game 1, 6-1. Came back and won the second game of the series 6-2, and then Arkansas got game 3, 5-1. Last 2 weekends, South Carolina has played doubleheaders on the last day of the series. Eister at first, Mendham behind in the count at the plate with nobody out in the inning. Strike 3 called, and Mendham goes away looking. That's the 3rd strikeout out of 4 outs in the game for Gunnar Hoglund.
And Hoglund just paints the outside corner with that pitch. Really the perfect pitcher's pitch. Low and outside, probably right at the bottom of the zone and right on the outside corner.
Runner on first with 1 down for Braylon Wimmer, dealing with Gunnar Hoglund. Got a couple of swinging strikeouts in the first inning and gets one looking for the first out here in the second. Gunnar Hoglund has 5 double-digit strikeout games this season. See 7 home runs for Wimmer, 23 runs batted in. Swings over the breaking ball there. 11 strikeouts against Texas Tech, 10 against UCF, 14 against ULM, 13 in game 1 against Auburn, and then 10 against Alabama. Hoglund missed his start last week against LSU, was slated to go in game 1, the Thursday night game. Was a late scratch because of some soreness. Derek Diamond found out about 3 hours before first pitch that he was going to be the starter.
That's a tough role for Diamond, but really he performed really admirably in that game. Threw really well, 6 innings, only gave up 2 unearned runs.
See, Kylie McDaniel at ESPN has Gunnar Hoglund ranked as the number 5 college baseball prospect in the country. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Braylon Wimmer. Tied for 5th with the 87 strikeouts coming into tonight's game. He's already added to that total. He's gone over 100 pitches 4 times this year, 109 in each of his last 2 starts against Arkansas and Mississippi State. 2-2. Strike 3 called. Just froze Wimmer on a fastball that time. Back-to-back strikeouts after the leadoff single from Eister.
This is what makes Hoglund so tough, is he's got such a good slider that sometimes when he just throws the fastball with 2 strikes, it catches people by surprise. You got to sit on both of them. It's tough to react to the fastball at 94 when you're sitting on a slider.
Two down, top of the second. Ole Miss leading 2-0 over South Carolina. And Brennan Malone goes after the first pitch, fouled it into the net behind home plate. Malone is making his 25th start of the season. He's not been an everyday guy for South Carolina. He takes a strike there, and you see the reaction from Malone. And I think both sets of hitters are still trying to kind of figure out exactly what Eric Gaucher's strike zone is going to be tonight. When you're facing a guy like Gunnar Hoglund, that's a tough pitch to get called a strike. The 0-2, swing and a miss. That is 3 straight strikeouts and 5 overall after the leadoff single for Gunnar Hoglund. We go to the bottom of the second. Ole Miss 2, South Carolina 0. Headed to the bottom of the second inning. Ole Miss 3 games behind Arkansas, just a game back of Mississippi State. Rebels sitting at 10-8 in the league with Alabama chasing them. LSU now at 6-12, A&M at 5-13. Texas A&M in Starkville this weekend, and then Auburn 3-16 in the league. Hayden Leatherwood goes after the first pitch, hits it down into the right field corner. He will dig for a stand-up double to start the bottom of the second inning, and the Rebels have come out swinging it tonight.
Really an aggressive approach by Hayden Leatherwood. Gets a fastball, pulls it down the line, and he is digging. He knows that's a double right out of the box.
Well, good to see Hayden Leatherwood running well. He was really limping last weekend after the collision on Thursday night. Played in parts of the next 2 games. But it was not without some stress. And here is Kemp Alderman. Went the opposite way on the first pitch that he saw. I'd be shocked if he sees a first pitch fastball here, but we'll see. It is a breaking ball, and he fouls it away for strike 1. That was some in-depth scouting by me, by the way, Billy. The last fastball he saw, he hit 428 feet on a line the opposite way.
When you got video of that in the scouting report, I think you call breaking ball first pitch.
Leadoff double from Hayden Leatherwood. He's out at second base. First pitch he saw, pulled it down into the right field corner. That was the 3rd hit of the game for Ole Miss off of Thomas Farr. Another off-speed pitch, and Alderman is behind in the count 0-2. And kind of doesn't feel like he's going to see a fastball here at all. We'll see.
As a young hitter in the SEC, I think they're going to make you prove that you can hit the breaking ball. This is how the league adjusted to different hitters, and it'll show a lot about Kemp and how he adjusts to different pitches.
Check swing, and Alderman was able to hold up on the breaking ball in the dirt. And there are a couple of philosophies there. I mean, you've either got to be able to hit the breaking ball or not swing at breaking balls that aren't strikes.
That's exactly right. You can, with the breaking ball, you can really either, like you said, get good at hitting the breaking ball, or you can just get diligent in your approach and not chase breaking balls, because they're going to try to get you to chase, force guys to throw fastballs that you can attack.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and he chases the breaking ball in the dirt. Swing and a miss there. And Alderman strikes out for the first out of the inning. Sunday at 6 Eastern on the SEC Network is the second game of big softball series between number 7 Arkansas and number 14 LSU in Baton Rouge. Then they'll finish things up and the regular season on Monday on the SEC Network. Coverage starting at 7 Eastern. SEC softball also available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. Back to the top of the lineup, and Jacob Gonzalez with one out and a runner at second. And Gonzalez goes after the first pitch. He's out in front, though, as he fouls it down the right field line.
Gonzalez out in front of that. Let's see if Farr adjusts and throws him another changeup here.
It's kind of a cat and mouse game right now. It's an Ole Miss team that is aggressive to the fastball. And that is a fastball from Farr. With a guy who throws a fastball in the low to mid 90s, you can't just abandon it. Look at the last 8 games. 8 games for Jacob Gonzalez. 17 runs scored, 16 driven in, 5 doubles, and 2 home runs.
It's great production from a freshman shortstop in his first SEC season.
Pitch just missed for ball 1. I'm assuming the slugging percentage over that time period is pretty good as well. I'm not a math guy. I have fingers and toes. I can't do that one on the fly. Gonzalez walked and scored in the first inning. Behind in the count here, a ball and 2 strikes. Fights this one off in on the hands, fielded by Malone, and he makes a low throw to first, but in time for the second out of the inning.
You talked about establishing the fastball, and that's a great pitch. He wants to make hitters uncomfortable to go in on the plate when he's thrown a couple breaking balls and changeups earlier in that bat. Gonzalez might be sitting out over the plate. To bust him inside is a great pitch there from Farr.
So now 2 out for Peyton Chatagnier. Ole Miss gets the leadoff double. Strikeout from Alderman, ground out from Gonzalez. Now looking for a 2-out base hit. Kentucky and Tennessee playing game 2 of their series in Knoxville. Vols 14-4 winners last night over the Wildcats. They are scoreless in the 3rd inning. Kind of delay down in Gainesville as Vanderbilt and Florida are trying to get their series started. Two balls and no strikes to Peyton Chatagnier. Arkansas and LSU scoreless in the 2nd inning in Baton Rouge. Missouri has jumped out early on Alabama with 4 runs in the top of the 1st inning. Strike there to Chatagnier. You heard the crowd reaction. It's one of those belt-high strikes, and Eric Gaucher hearing it from the Ole Miss dugout a little bit as well. Auburn with a couple of runs in the top of the 1st inning, leading Georgia 2-0. There's a strike, and the count evens at 2-2 now to Peyton Chatagnier. Leatherwood out at second base. The 2-2. Now 3-2 as the breaking ball misses away. I think I'd forgotten to hit refresh on my screen, so those scores were late. There's a lot that's happened since those scores I gave you just like 30 seconds ago. We'll do that in a little while.
Run it back.
2 down and a full count to Chatagnier. 39th pitch of the game coming here from Thomas Farr. And it's fouled back.
This is the type of at-bat it always seems like Chatagnier has. Just a really tough out for pitchers. Does a great job of fouling off tough pitches, working long at-bats.
Breaking ball outside, and that is a good at-bat for Peyton Chatagnier. Second walk of the game issued by Thomas Farr, and the inning continues.
And Chatagnier did a good job there, both on the 2-2 pitch and the 3-2 pitch, of laying off breaking balls that were just off the plate, that started on the plate. That's a sign of a diligent approach and not being too antsy at the plate, knowing what he wants to hit, knowing what's going to be a strike and what's going to be a ball.
Kevin Graham singled up the middle, just to the right of the second base bag his first time up. South Carolina plays him to pull. First pitch strike. Little front door slider there. And it's 0-1 to Graham. Good sharp break on that one. Kevin Graham got a piece of it. Tried to hit a breaking ball. It was up in the zone and had the bottom fall out on him.
If you're Farr here, you're trying to get Graham to chase something, so you're trying to throw something that looks like a strike and moves out of the zone here on the 0-2 count.
You like breaking ball or changeup?
I think he'll go low breaking ball here, try to land it right on home plate.
The 0-2. What is it they say about blind squirrels? That was good.
That's exactly right.
That was
exactly
pretty good.
Right. It's only got 3 pitches, you know. You guess 33% chance of getting it right.
Ball and 2 strikes now to Kevin Graham. 2 down in the inning. Leadoff double, 2-out walk. Fastball down and in, missed, and the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ole Miss couple of runs in the top of the first inning. An RBI single from Hayden Dunhurst and a sacrifice fly from TJ McCants. Only one of those 2 runs, though, was earned. There was an error in the mix for South Carolina in the bottom of the first. The 2-2. Pretty good defensive swing there from Kevin Graham. Gets a piece to stay alive.
That's a really nice pitch by Farr there, a good changeup, and Graham does a great job. He was a little out in front, but he was able to keep his hands back and just foul one off, live to see another pitch.
Another 2-2 coming. And Graham, a soft one hopper to second. Easy play for Wimmer over to Mendham, and Ole Miss strands a couple. 2 complete in Oxford. It's Ole Miss 2, South Carolina nothing. Saw the Western Division standings. Here's what it looks like in the East. Vandy on top at 13-5. Tennessee, same number of wins, 1 more loss, and the Volunteers are trailing Kentucky 2-1 right now in the 6th inning. Then you got Florida and South Carolina both at 11-7, tied for 3rd in the East with Georgia lurking. A little bit of a logjam there. Only, 4 games, 4.5 games separating first place Vanderbilt and 6th place Kentucky.
That just goes to show you the depth of the talent in the SEC on both sides. The 5th place team is 4 games off of the 1st place team.
First pitch strike to Khalil, George Khalil. Shortstop from Melbourne, Australia. The national team experience with the U18 team out of Australia. Fouls it back and is behind in the count 0-2. And even with Missouri there at the bottom of the East at 5-13, feels like they're picking off one game just about every weekend. They're not winning series, but they're rarely getting swept, and they lead 7-4 over Alabama in the 4th inning over in Tuscaloosa.
I think any weekend you're playing in the SEC, a series win is a good weekend. There's no weekend you go in and you say, we're going to sweep. We're definitely going to sweep. A series win in every weekend is a good weekend.
1-2 pitch. Foul tip held on to there by Dunhurst. That is the 6th strikeout for Gunnar Hoglund. Miss soccer team got a sudden death win over Bowling Green in not just shootout, but extra shootout. Ground ball right side. Chatinier fields it cleanly and throws to first for quickly the second out of the inning. Scoreless tie against Bowling Green, and the penalty kick shootout after 2 overtimes is 5 apiece. Ole Miss was down 2-0. Ashley Orcus had a couple of really big saves. They ended up tied at 3, and so they went to sudden death penalty kick shooting, and Ole Miss ended up winning it on the 7th. Mo O'Connor found the back of the net, and Ole Miss advanced. Big-time opponent, University of Southern California, ranked 14th in the country. They were the 8 overall seed, or the number 8 seed in the NCAA soccer tournament. And what do you know, Ole Miss and Southern Cal in a second overtime period tied at 2 in the 107th, 108th minute at this point. Brady Allen, top of the order, takes a strike. Oh, that fastball, some late life, runs back in over the outside corner. And Hoglund trying to have a quick inning. See Allen in SEC play. How about 11 extra base hits with 18 runs batted in at a .295 average. Fouls it off to get a piece, and Eric Gaucher, the home plate umpire, took a shot. Dunhurst checked on him, and Mr. Gaucher said, I'm okay, I'm okay.
It's part of that catcher-umpire rapport. If it hits off of one of them, you gotta check, make sure everybody's okay. You'll see if it hits off the catcher on a bad angle. The umpire will go deliver a ball. The pitcher, just give him a little time. Peyton Dunhurst repaying the favor there.
The 0-2 to Brady Allen. This time breaking ball. Ole Miss got a couple of runs in the bottom of the first inning. That's where we stand right now. Rebels 2 runs on 3 hits. South Carolina no runs on a hit and an error. Fouled away.
Hoagland's been efficient thus far. He's only at 41 pitches through 2 2/3 innings here. The Rebels would love to get a deep start from him tonight.
The 1-2. One ball and 2 strikes to Brady Allen. 0 for 1 with a fly out to deep right field. Hits it on the ground to Gonzalez at short. Big hop there. And the throw is in time, and South Carolina goes 1-2-3 in the top of the third. Ole Miss coming to the plate, leading 2-0. Ole Miss leading at 2-0 over South Carolina as we go to the bottom of the third inning. Mike Bianco, the head coach for Ole Miss in his 21st season. 24th overall. Third winningest coach in SEC history. Longest tenured head coach in any of the 3 major men's sports: football, basketball, baseball. Bianco's team out to a 2-0 lead in this ball game. Trying to add to that as Hayden Dunhurst will start things. And he goes after the first pitch. And we talked about it earlier, Billy, but This Ole Miss team so aggressive to the fastball, especially early in the count.
That's exactly right. They have such a great approach. They know what they're looking to hit. And early in the count, they will swing only at what they want to hit.
Breaking ball down and in there. And the count evens at a ball and a strike. You see T.J. McCants. Couple of hitters away for Ole Miss, standing down at the end of the dugout, and it's now 2-1 to Dunhurst. Had an RBI single. It was his 30th of the year. Carrere, Mississippi, hitting .341. On base percentage third in the SEC, and he has got a cannon. Takes that just off the plate, and the count goes to 3-1.
That's exactly right. He will throw defensively. He'll throw behind runners. He'll throw to bases. He's not afraid to show off his arm.
Thought that he reached on a walk there, but Eric Gaucher, the home plate umpire, said nope. Here the full count. Dunhurst lifts it out into center field. Allen runs it down, headed toward the left center gap for the first out of the inning.
Good swing by Dunhurst there. Really shows off his opposite field approach. Stays inside the ball, hits a line drive to deep center. Just didn't have enough on it to get over Allen's head.
So for the first time tonight, Thomas Farr is able to get the leadoff man. He walked Gonzalez to start the first inning, gave up a double to Leatherwood to start the second inning. This pitch runs inside for ball one to Justin Bench. Bench reached on an error his first time up. Takes a strike there.
One of the stats that jumps off the page to me about Bench is he only has 15 strikeouts this year in his 38 games played. Just shows you how disciplined of an approach he has, how tough of an out he is with 2 strikes.
And how about this? 15 strikeouts, 14 hit by pitch.
Don't see that good of a strikeout to hit by pitch ratio very often.
I'm not sure that's a ratio that anybody actually talks about. This one bounces in for ball 2.
Also, with all the bruises he has, he might not describe it as a good ratio. He might.
Certainly helps the on-base percentage.
That's right. That's right.
Two-two to Bench. Got one over the plate there and fouled it away. Heads up. Those are scary.
That's just an example of what we were just talking about Bench, though. Hard fastball in the outside corner. He's behind it, but he's able to get his bat to it, foul it off, get to see another pitch here.
This ball lifted toward left center. Allen on the run, digs the dive and the catch. What a play there by Allen out in center field, robbing Justin Bench of a base hit.
Great play by Allen there. You see he gets a very good jump, but also, so you see here, great jump off the bat. Looks like it's going down, but also he shows off his closing speed there. Takes away a single or potentially an extra base hit from Justin Bench.
I don't know if that stuck the landing or didn't stick the landing. He kind of stuck when he hit.
Mm-hmm. Had a little tumble there after the landing.
T.J. McCants, sacrifice fly his first time up, picked up his 19th RBI of the year, his 13th in league play. And that's a base hit for McCants. He hit it past the second baseman, Wimmer. Good night at the plate so far for McCants as he continues to swing a hot bat. That's a 2-out single.
That's exactly right. That's McCants' second good swing tonight. Takes a low pitch, just stays on it, drives it back up the middle. You see the second baseman shaded more towards that 4-3 hole than he might be for a right-hander, and McCants stays through the middle and is able to get a single out of that.
Cale Baker, McCants trying to get second, got a great jump. Stolen base there for T.J. McCants. Ole Miss has not been a team that runs a ton this year. Only 38 attempts, and they'd only been successful 25 times prior to that. But T.J. McCants now 5 out of 5 in stolen bases.
And that's exactly right. That is a great situation to try to run and try to get a runner in scoring position for Cale Baker, who's been swinging a hot bat as well.
One.
And that's another thing is you don't have to steal a ton of bases to be a good base running team. You just have to, if you're going to steal, picking the right spots to do that where the risk reward is right. You got a fast runner in T.J. McCants, and he picked a good spot, got a good jump, and was able to get into scoring position for Cale Baker here.
So a couple of flyouts to start the inning. Great catch by Allen, robbing Justin Bench of a base hit. Outside for ball 2. And so 2-1 now to Cale Baker. Now 3-1 to Baker. And you see 66 pitches through 2 2/3 for Thomas Farr. And cut fouled back on the fastball.
I love Cale Baker being aggressive there. He got a fastball in a hitter's count, took a good swing at it, fouls it straight back, looked like he was right on it. With a runner in scoring position, love the hitter being aggressive, trying to drive that run home.
Full count, 2 outs. McCants at second. Swing and a miss on the fastball. Just the second strikeout of the game, but that is a big one for Thomas Farr. Leaves Ole Miss where they are, 2-0 after 3. Back with you at Swayze Field in Oxford, Mississippi. You look at South Carolina's postseason resume. Right now, D1 Baseball has them as a host. 26-12 overall, 11-7. Metrics are so good. 10 in the RPI, 12 in strength of schedule. Find themselves trailing 2-0 to Ole Miss. We go to the top of the 4th inning.
Not only have they played a tough SEC schedule, but I also believe they went on the road to Texas, who's a tough team in the Big 12.
Top of the 4th inning, Gunnar Hoglund, who has been in control. 44 pitches through his first 3 frames, and he delivers a strike on the outside corner to Josiah Seitler. Hey, congratulations to the Ole Miss soccer team. Trailing 2-0, they came back and tied the match at 2 with Southern Cal. They're playing in the NCAA soccer tournament. Went to penalty kicks for the second consecutive game and won it 3-2 in PKs. Pop up on the infield, and Hoglund is called off at the last minute there by Cale Baker for the first out of the inning.
You know, that's the ball that every pitcher wants to catch, but then gets called off by the infielders. He'll go back into the dugout and say, I would have had that one.
There's only one pitcher that I've seen at Ole Miss who had the ability to call everybody off and everybody listen, and that was when Stephen Head, who also played first base, was on the mound. He would call for one, and you just kind of got out of the way. So Matt Mott's soccer team advances in the NCAA tournament. Great win for them. Popped back, foul, and out of play. Wes Clark behind in the count 0-1. Swing and a miss. Good hard slider there from Gunnar Hoglund.
And that's a great pitch to a hitter that can obviously do a lot of damage at the plate. That's a pitch that any hitter is going to struggle to get in the air.
See Wes Clark, just what a tear to start this year, not only hitting for power but for average with 10 home runs in the first 15 games of the season. That is a hard pitch to handle there. Strikeout number 7 for Gunnar Hoglund.
That's exactly right, and that's almost an exact replica of his previous pitch. Starts the ball on the plate looking like a strike and then just dives right out of the zone. That's a tough pitch to lay off of.
Andrew Eister goes after the first pitch and fouls it back. And you know, the thing, Billy, when you look at Gunnar Hoglund, pitch count's good because even the off-speed stuff he's throwing, whether it's the slider or the changeup, he's throwing for strikes, and guys are having to go after that so they don't fall behind early.
That's exactly right, and I think that's what scouts like so much about him. He's polished. He can throw 3 pitches, 4 strikes. And not only that, there's a lot of guys that can – there's some guys that can throw multiple pitches for strikes, but he's got the stuff that can finish off hitters, and that's why he's so high in the national standings in strikeouts. To be able to have both the stuff and the ability to locate it is what makes Gunnar Hoglund truly special.
2 out, bases empty, no balls and 2 strikes. Eister in on the hands, pops it up to second. That's an easy one for Chatagnier, and South Carolina goes 1, 2, 3. That's 9 in a row retired by Gunnar Hoglund. Ole Miss leading it 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the 4th. See, Ole Miss's postseason resume, it's taken a little bit of a step back as the Rebels have lost 4 straight SEC series, and yet you still look at the total body of work. 28 wins overall, 10 in the SEC. They've got the 3 wins against the Big 12 teams, sitting at 16 in the RPI and 23 in strength of schedule. And it's part of what makes this weekend so big. They're playing a team that's sitting at 10 in the RPI coming into this.
That's exactly right. They've come off playing some really tough teams, and they'd like to get going, but a series win here, they've got another opportunity to improve their resume for the postseason. And so much in the SEC is just how you respond to adversity. You're playing tough teams each and every week. Sometimes you just got to put it behind you, move on. How quickly can you do that?
Billy, baseball's such a funny game sometimes as well. Leatherwood fouls it off. And the way that game against LSU ended could almost be like something that kind of shakes you out of a funk.
That's exactly right. Kind of gets you a little momentum, catapults you further.
Good breaking ball there. Leatherwood called out on strikes. Little backdoor slider from Thomas Farr. That may be the best breaking ball he's thrown.
That's exactly right. That is a really good pitch there from Farr. The ability to throw the breaking ball to both sides of the plate, just sneaks it in on the outside corner. We've seen him throw that backdoor, the back leg breaking ball to lefties. To be able to throw it to the other side as well is really impressive and really keeps the hitters on their toes.
First pitch strike to Kemp Alderman. And that was the first pitch fastball. Good location with it down at the bottom of the zone.
But that's what's so tough about hitting. Alderman didn't get a breaking ball or didn't get a fastball his first at bat. I'm sure he was thinking he'd get a first pitch breaking ball and then they throw him the fastball.
The 0-2. That's a swing and a miss, but the ball gets up the third base line. Alderman runs well, and that ball goes down toward right field. And now Alderman stumbles trying to get to second. The throw to second, hobbled, and he is safe. Wow. So a wild pitch strikeout. Alderman beats it out, and the ball gets away down the right field line. He stumbles spectacularly here. A good throw. Can't be handled, and Kemp Alderman is at second.
That's
can really run.
And that's a play where the scorebook doesn't quite do it justice. A lot was going on that play, and somehow he's on second in scoring position with one out.
And this ball hit up the middle, a base hit by Jacob Gonzalez. Alderman hits the bag at third. He will come around to score on the RBI single, and Ole Miss immediately makes South Carolina pay for the error.
Good piece of hitting by Gonzalez. We've talked about it a lot tonight, but he's aggressive early on a fastball in the zone. Hits it right back up the middle.
Thinking back to the Kemp Alderman play, they only put one error on it. I guess technically you could give two errors. You could go throwing error and then, but he gets a two-base error on a throwing error that was charged to the catcher.
That's exactly right. South Carolina had a chance to get him because he stumbled coming around, making the turn from first to second.
Yeah. So throwing error, I mean, if you wanted to score it that way, you could allow him to reach first on a throwing error and then get to second on, I guess, what would technically be another throwing error. Swing and a miss from Chatinier. Regardless, Ole Miss scores on the RBI single from Jacob Gonzalez. And the Rebels lead it 3-0.
That just goes to show you that so often baseball's a complex game, but sometimes it's incredibly simple, just play and catch. They make a good throw on either one of those, then they've gotten out.
And a tough break for Thomas Farr. He made a good pitch to get Alderman swinging on, but it was in the dirt, got up the third base line, and then poor execution on the second error of the game for South Carolina.
And not only did the South Carolina lose an out there, but it forces Farr to face more hitters, runs the pitch count up, just has more effects than just the one run.
2-1. 2-2. Nip the corner. Farr's slider has looked like it's got a little more bite in this half inning than we've seen early.
That's exactly right. He's thrown some really good ones, both 4 strikes, and then the pitch to Alderman, a pitch that looked like a strike and then dropped it right about at home plate.
Bounced that one in the dirt. Gonzalez read it down and heads down to second base. So another runner in scoring position on the wild pitch.
That's a good read by Gonzalez as well there. He saw the downward angle of the ball even before it hit before it hit the dirt, and just got a great jump, and South Carolina had no chance of getting him.
Chatnier's been good with runners in scoring position. He's got Gonzalez at second with one out here in the bottom of the fourth. Ole Miss leading 3-0. And the full count pitch just misses. Second consecutive at bat that Peyton Chatnier has earned a walk on a full count pitch. Tomorrow on the SEC Network, it's the second game of this series between number 13 South Carolina and number 19 Ole Miss right here in Oxford. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. SEC Baseball also available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. See, 83 pitches through 3 1/3. 5 hits allowed. He's got 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. Of course, one of those strikeouts turned into a run in this half inning.
And I think this visit is almost more just to give Farr a breather. Sometimes you get so into the competition, you need to step back, take a breather, get going again here with his at-bat against Graham.
That's the mound in the South Carolina bullpen. Nothing doing right now. They do have some guys that are up and starting to throw the weighted balls. But right now, this is Thomas Farr's game. 3-0, Ole Miss leading it over South Carolina.
And you got to feel like with Hoglund on the mound for Ole Miss, this is a big spot for South Carolina. Want to keep the game close, stay within striking distance.
Dangerous hitter in Kevin Graham, the 3-hole hitter for Ole Miss, and he takes slider inside for strike one. That front door slider as well.
Graham's seen a lot of breaking balls tonight.
The 0-1 to Kevin Graham with first and second and one down, and that pitch is down and in. Fastball up, and Graham got a piece of it. Kentucky leading 3-2 over Tennessee in the top of the 8th inning in Knoxville. Top of the 4th in Gainesville. It's 7-0. Vanderbilt over Florida. Arkansas leads 2-0 over LSU. That's in the top of the 8th inning. Landon Marceau, 7 innings, only 2 earned runs allowed. Chopper left side. No chance for 2. And the third baseman, Malone, gets Graham at first for the second out of the inning. Both runners move up.
That's a good play from Malone as well to cut off that ball. The ball bounced high enough that you know you're not going to be able to turn 2, so he takes the out at first. Good play to cut the ball off because he knows that the shortstop's not going to be able to. There's not going to be enough time for the shortstop to come in and have to throw across his body. Much easier play for the third baseman.
Hayden Dunhurst is going to be intentionally walked with first base open, and that will load the bases for Ole Miss and Justin Bench. Ooh. How good is that? Pretty spectacular sunset tonight in Oxford.
An absolutely beautiful night for SEC baseball here in Oxford.
So now 4 walks and 4 strikeouts for Farr, and he is facing Justin Bench. And Bench goes after the first pitch. It's off the glove of the third baseman, Malone, and out into left field. Gonzalez comes around to score, so does Chatnier. Dunhurst goes first to third. And Justin Bench reaches safely. We'll see if that scored another error on South Carolina.
That's a good piece of hitting by Bench. That's a really tough play for Malone. Really good base running from the Rebels. Chatnier was going home as soon as that ball hit off Malone's glove. And then the ability to go first to third for Dunhurst, for your catcher, is really impressive. Great base running all around from the Ole Miss Rebels.
And is scored as a single for Justin Bench, so he gets a 2-run single. And Ole Miss leads 5-0. Runners at the corners for TJ McCants, who's got a sac fly and a single. And McCants hits it high in the air to right field, but shallow. Eister coming in. He'll make the catch, and that ends the inning. Ole Miss sends 8 men to the plate. They put 3 runs on the board. And the Rebels lead at 5-0. Gunnar Hoglund didn't pitch last week, but he has been locked in tonight. The Rebels starter, 7 strikeouts and no walks on 52 pitches through 4 innings.
And you just see a full sample. He's actually throwing a lot of fastballs there to finish guys off, but there you see the slider. You see a complete sample size of fastball, slider, changeup, which makes Gunnar Hoglund so special.
Of the 52 pitches that he has thrown, 39 have been strikes.
Whew. That's some real efficiency. That shows why he's only thrown 52 pitches through 4 innings pitched. And as we hit on before, the ability to command all those pitches is really what separates him.
Hoglund got South Carolina 1-2-3 in the first, gave up a leadoff single to Eister, and since then has retired 9 in a row with 5 strikeouts. David Mendham, Braylon Wimmer, and Brendan Malone to lead things off for South Carolina in the top of the 5th with the Gamecocks trailing 5-0. Richard Cross, Billy Kirkpatrick with you tonight from Swayze Field. Beautiful Friday night. Graduation weekend in Oxford. Finals are over. Well, this time as a baseball player has got to be so much fun. Classes are done. You got a lot of baseball in front of you. It's nothing but ball for the next month.
That's exactly right. It just gives you a taste of what I imagine being in the pros feels like. All you got to worry about is baseball.
Now tip for strike 1 to Mendham. Although they're treated better than the guys in minor league baseball.
That's exactly right. I mean, you just look at the facilities here and around the SEC. They've got the best weight rooms, the best batting cages. They're treated pretty well.
The 0-1 to Mendham. There's a fastball strike at the knees, and the count goes to 0-2.
And you talk about those facilities, and I think that's why college baseball has such a great argument for getting high school players that could go in the draft to come to college for the development. You know you're going to get the best coach. You know you're going to get great coaching. You know you're going to get great facilities. You know you're going to get great food. They've got a real argument for coming to college.
Pitch up and out of the zone. You're looking at one of those guys. Gunnar Hoglund, former first-round draft pick by the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. Did not come to an agreement with them, came to school instead. And now we told you earlier, Kylie McDaniel at ESPN has him ranked as one of the top 5 prospects in the country.
And he's getting to experience, not only has he improved and generated more positive draft stock for himself, but he's getting to pitch in this environment every Friday night, which has to be a lot of fun for him.
2-2 fouled away by Mendham. David Mendham, prior to South Carolina, he was a second-team All-American in junior college at Connors State. Chopper right side. Cale Baker squeezes it coming forward for the first down in the 5th inning.
Good play by Baker here. He sees that, he recognizes that he's going to get a big hop if he can charge. Charges, makes an easy play, makes a tough play easy by coming to get the big hop.
Braylon Wimmer takes strike one. Freshman last year in the COVID-shortened season, Braylon Wimmer made 10 starts. He hits a high fly ball to right field. Leatherwood gets to the track, and he will make the catch. Seen a couple of deep fly balls to right field tonight. Brady Allen to start the game, and Wimmer here in the 5th inning.
And Wimmer,
any help from the wind tonight, though.
That's exactly right. There's no wind here tonight. Wimmer got just a little bit underneath that ball, put a good swing on it. If that ball's if he hits that ball a little more level, that ball may be over the fence.
Brennan Malone struck out swinging. He pops it up, foul territory behind the plate. And Dunhurst gave it a look, but that ball hits in the net. That qualifies as no wind. Dunhurst went with the big sling of his mask, so he had to go gather that up, get all his equipment back together. Now we'll do it again. With Malone behind in the count 0-1. Fastball up there. That's a hard pitch to catch even at 91. So it's 0-2 now to Brennan Malone.
So often tonight, Hoglund has shown the ability to pitch low in the zone, but there he goes up in the zone and shows that that's an effective pitch, tough pitch to hit for the hitter.
Mike Bianco calls the pitches from the Ole Miss dugout. Pitchers have the ability to shake at any point. Here's Gunnar Hoglund. Strike three called. He wanted a fastball in the inside corner. That was a good choice. 8th strikeout of the game. 12 in a row retired by Hoglund. It will be here before we know it. The SEC baseball tournament back in Hoover once again. The 2021 edition, May 25th through the 30th. Top 12 teams from the SEC make it. Day 1, single elimination. The top 4 teams are protected to the double elimination. Then when you get to Day 5, for the remaining 4 teams, the semifinals, back to single elimination, and then on May 30th, championship game, which will air on ESPN2.
What a fun week of baseball that is for SEC baseball fans. You can wake up in the morning and there's a game on, and you go to sleep at night and there's still a game on.
Cale Baker leading off, and he takes ball 1 from Thomas Farr. South Carolina has a left-hander throwing in the bullpen as we begin the bottom of the 5th inning with Ole Miss leading 5-0. That's John Gilreath. Big swing and a miss there from Cale Baker. Probably the one the big man wanted right there. You ever been to the SEC tournament in Hoover?
I have not. I want to. It's definitely a bucket list thing I want to do.
It is fantastic. Now 1-2 to Cale Baker. If you were a college baseball fan, it is must do. And I would say like at least once, but it's such an easy trip. That can be like an annual thing.
That's exactly right.
1-2. Baker fouls it away and stays alive at the plate.
And with the SEC, you're seeing great teams every game.
Yeah, a lot of people have argued through the years, best baseball outside of Omaha. There are years where there's an argument to be made that it's just the best baseball, period. Off the end of the bat, cued to first, fielded there by Mendham. He'll take it himself, beats Cale Baker by a couple of steps for the first out of the inning. Baker 0 for 3 tonight in the 7-hole of the lineup.
Good play by Mendham there. Sometimes those cue balls off the end of the bat are the tough ones to field because they got so much spin on them. Also, those balls in between the pitcher and first baseman, sometimes communications is so important. You see there, Barr getting over, taking a good route, getting over there. South Carolina into defense handles that play.
Hayden Leatherwood doubled to lead off the second inning, struck out looking in the fourth. Leatherwood hits this one past the first baseman, Mendham diving to his right. Second hit of the ball game for Leatherwood in the 8th for Ole Miss.
Leatherwood really wearing down that right field line tonight. He gets another ball in the inner half, pulls the hands inside, put a good swing on the ball. Gets the Rebels a runner on with one out in the 5th inning.
I said 8. That's actually the 7th hit of the game for Ole Miss. Rebels with the digital camo helmets and hats tonight, part of Military Appreciation Weekend. Honored student veterans at the ballpark earlier tonight. Kemp Alderman, 2 at-bats in a row where Farr has opened him with a fastball. It was 3 straight breaking balls in the first at-bat. Fastball, breaking ball in the second at-bat. Now Alderman reached on a strikeout wild pitch, got to second on a throwing error, and then came around to score. That's a breaking ball up, and he fouls that one and falls behind in the count 0-2. Nothing has gone final yet in the SEC tonight, but we're getting close in a couple of games. The 0-2 to Alderman. Chased one in the dirt and goes down swinging for the 3rd time tonight. Second out of the inning.
It's a good pitch by Farr there, knowing he does not want to throw anything for a strike. See if he can get Alderman to chase, and he does. That's something that Alderman will get better at with more experience. Just seeing breaking balls. This is a legit Friday night guy in SEC. This is Alderman's first start on a Friday night in the SEC.
That was pitch number 100 in the game, you see, for Thomas Farr. Jacob Gonzalez. Breaking ball flattens out. Farr's lost his last 3 starts to Missouri, LSU, and Arkansas. Season high for strikeouts came against Texas back on March 12th. He had 10 strikeouts in that game. 5 strikeouts tonight for Thomas Farr. Down the first base line by Jacob Gonzalez. Gonzalez, a walk, a ground out, and an RBI single. Scored a couple of runs tonight for the Rebels. Ole Miss leading 5-0. These two teams have both had their issues in game 1s this year. South Carolina is 1-5 in their 6 game 1s. You flip it around though, game 2 and game 3, 10-2 on the backside of series so far this year.
Well, you'd love to get more game 1 victories, obviously. That does show a resiliency from the South Carolina baseball team that they can come back regroup on Saturday, attack the day anew.
Ole Miss has lost its last 4 series opening games. That pitch just missed to Jacob Gonzalez. That was a good location from far. Third time tonight that Gonzalez has been on base. He draws the walk. Ole Miss swept its first 2 series of SEC play against Auburn and Alabama. Since then, they've lost game 1 to Arkansas, Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and LSU. Four to 1, 7 to 3, 5 to 2, and then 5 to 4. Here's Peyton Chatagnier. First and second with 2 down. Chatagnier goes after the first pitch breaking ball, swings over the top of it for strike 1. Chatagnier popped out to second in his first at bat. He's been on base twice with a couple of walks since then and scored a run in the 4th inning. Leatherwood out at second and Gonzalez at first. It's the 61st game all-time in the series between South Carolina and Ole Miss. Gamecocks with a 12-win advantage overall, 36-24. Two teams last met in Columbia in 2018. South Carolina won 2 out of 3 that season. 2 years before that, the last time they met in Oxford, that was 2016, and Gamecocks swept the Rebels that year. So South Carolina has won 5 of the last 6. The last meeting between these two teams, May 6th. With Ole Miss winning 6-5. That was of 2018.
What stands out about that score, we saw Parker Caracci was the Ole Miss closer back then.
Right.
Through 4 innings. Just college baseball is a little different than the pro game. In the pro game, you never see a closer go 4 innings, but college baseball, they do.
You don't see many starters go 4 innings, it feels like, in the big leagues anymore.
That's exactly right.
Big swing and a miss there for strike 2 to Peyton Chatagnier. Time called just before the pitch. Chatagnier hammers that one foul down the third baseline.
Good swing by Chatagnier there. It looked like Farr was trying to get him to chase a high fastball. Just didn't get it quite as high as he wanted to. Chatagnier pulls it just foul.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, couple of runners on. Chatagnier gets a piece to stay alive there.
And this is what we were talking about on one of Chatagnier's earlier at bats. Just a tough out. Fouls off tough pitches from the pitcher, keeps himself alive, gives himself a chance to hit a ball hard.
Hayden Leatherwood at second, Jacob Gonzalez at first. Rebels looking for a 2-out base hit from Chatagnier. 112th pitch coming from Farr. Chatagnier spoils another. Certainly think this is the last inning that we will see Thomas Farr. The left-hander throwing could be the last batter either way.
Could be, with the left-hander Graham on deck. They may be getting the left-handed pitcher for South Carolina ready to face Graham.
2-2 hit on the ground to short, fielded by Khalil. Goes the short route to second. Fielder's choice for Chatinier. Through 5, it's Ole Miss 5, South Carolina nothing. 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors tonight for Ole Miss. No runs on a hit with 2 errors for South Carolina. 12 in a row retired by Gunnar Hoglund. He gave up a leadoff single to Andrew Eister in the 2nd inning. Gunnar Hoglund has been as in control tonight as we've seen him at any point this season, and only 63 pitches through 5 innings.
And if people were worried that the week off he'd come out a little rusty, he has not done that. He has shown that he's had command of all 3 pitches and been in control the whole game.
First pitch strike to George Khalil. Showed bunt, pulled it back. Makes you wonder if you should give him a week off next week as well.
I think when you got Gunnar Hoglund, you probably don't overthink it. You probably just roll him out there each week.
Cale Baker, foul territory, first base side for the first out of the inning. Tonight, the SEC Now team will have all the highlights from a busy night on the softball and baseball diamonds. They'll talk NFL draft as well. You can always watch on the ESPN app. Nine-hole hitter Noah Myers. Myers grounded out to second his first time up. He shows bunt and takes a strike. And if you're watching closely there, you saw Myers kind of peek down to third. And he saw Justin Bench playing back a little bit. Takes just outside for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike to Noah Myers.
Definitely a good idea. If you're South Carolina, you're trying to find any way you can to get on base, break up Hoglund's rhythm.
One ball and 2 strikes now to Myers, the left fielder, making his first SEC start. Myers has played in now 16 games this year, just his 3rd start of the season. Lefty choked up with the 1-2 pitch coming, and he fouls it away. Kentucky leading 8-2 in Knoxville tonight, on the way to a win over the Tennessee Vols in game 2 of that series, and that's after Tennessee won 14-4 last night. Vanderbilt up 9-1 on Florida in the 5th. Arkansas leading 7-0 now over LSU in the top of the 9th inning. Strike 3 called. Myers goes away looking on the breaking ball, and they're 2 down. That was tough.
Beautiful pitch there from Hoglund, especially after he'd been throwing consistent, had only thrown fastballs in this at bat. And then he hits him with a slider right on the inner half.
Sometimes you see the reaction from a hitter and he just goes,
Yep.
Back to the top of the order, and the always dangerous Brady Allen, 0 for 2 with a fly out and a ground out. And he takes breaking ball at the belt. That's one thing that Gunnar Hoglund has taken advantage of tonight. That's a generous strike zone from Eric Gaucher. He's called that high slider a strike.
That's exactly right. And when you've got a pitcher that can command the ball like Hoglund, giving him a generous strike zone, he'll just keep throwing it to those spots that he knows will be called strikes.
That was a great pitch there. He's gotten some corners extended at times. That was just about as good as you can do it. No balls and 2 strikes to Brady Allen. And Allen keeps it just inside the first base bag. Cale Baker needed to swat it and step on it, but he was able to get his feet and step on the bag. Another 1-2-3 inning for Gunnar Hoglund. Thomas Farr's night is over after 5 innings of work. He gives way to John Gilreath, making his 9th appearance of the year. Gilreath is 1-0 with a 3.12 ERA, 8 strikeouts, 8 walks in 8 2/3 innings. What are we going to see from Mr. Gilreath?
Gilreath has a fastball that he throws around 86 to 90. He's also got a slider that is more of a sweeping slider than a vertical break pitch. He'll also feature a cutter and a changeup. So 4 pitches for Gilreath. Expect him to command the ball well, mix in with his fastball with a lot of sliders, especially as we see lefties coming to the plate.
3rd SEC appearance of the year for John Gilreath. He's got 3 innings of work with a couple of hits and a run allowed. Thomas Farr in 5 innings threw 112 pitches, gave up 7 hits, 5 runs allowed, only 4 of them earned with 5 walks and 5 strikeouts. Time for some popcorn in the dugout. Farr kind of battled through. I mean, I know it's 5-0, and Ole Miss scored 2 early, and then they got the 3 runs in the 4th inning, but kind of preserved the bullpen. A lot of baseball left, obviously.
That's exactly right. And I think he pitched better than what the stat line show. If we think back to the 1st inning, there was the ground ball that could have been a double play that gets him out of the inning.
That's right. One of the runs in the 1st inning was unearned. And then in the 4th inning, you had the strikeout wild pitch of Kemp Alderman. He got into scoring position and then later scored. Kevin Graham, first hitter to face Gilreath. Gets a hit into right. 2nd hit of the game for Kevin Graham. He's 2 for 4.
Really seems like the Ole Miss lefties, Graham and Leatherwood, have been wearing out the right field line. He got a slider that was elevated, and he does a good job staying on it, swinging through, hitting it through the right side of the infield there.
So Kevin Graham at first with nobody out, and Hayden Dunhurst at the plate. 1 for 2, intentionally walked to load the bases in the 4th inning, and then Justin Bench immediately got a 2-run single. Arkansas and LSU were playing a close game. It was 2-0 going into the bottom of really into the top of the 8th inning. Ground ball to second. Chance for 2 here. Short for 1. Back to first for the double play. 4-6-3. Told you Ole Miss leads the SEC in a lot of offensive categories. That's one where they would prefer not to lead the league. That is the 18th double play that the Rebels have grounded into in conference play.
And they called the double play the pitcher's best friend for a reason. He was in a little trouble there, facing the 4-hitter with the cleanup hitter with the runner on base, and now he's 2 outs, nobody on.
So Wimmer and Khalil in the middle of the infield, roll a pair. Base is empty with 2 down. And Mike Clement with a quick visit with Justin Bench, probably just to slow things down for a second and give Gunnar Hoglund an extra minute or 2 in the dugout. I think Gunnar Hoglund's pitching. You almost be like, can I just keep going?
Yeah, the way he's throwing, he's just in a rhythm, and you just want to get back out there as soon as you can.
Bench shows bunt and takes strike 1. So that Arkansas LSU game is now gone final. In fact, 2 finals in the league. Kentucky beats Tennessee 8-2 to split the series, and Arkansas takes game 1 in Baton Rouge 7-0. Razorbacks are now 33-7 on the year. Bench lifts this one to center field, an 0-2 pitch, and that's an easy play for Allen, and a nice job by Gilreath after the leadoff single. He gets a double play and a fly out. Through 6, Ole Miss leading at 5-0. Ole Miss goes to the bullpen, and Derek Diamond will appear for the 12th time this year. He has been both a starter and a reliever, 3-3, 5.48 ERA, 46 strikeouts in 44 1/3 innings, and is coming off his either best or second best performance of the year. He was outstanding against Texas in his first start of the season, and then last week, Billy, against LSU, on about 3 hours' notice was really good against LSU.
That's exactly right. He didn't know waking up that morning that who's going to be making that start, but he performed really well. Went 6 innings on short notice. Now is in a little bit of a new role as a reliever, but certainly will be used to pitching in big spots in the SEC.
You see just 73 pitches tonight for Gunnar Hoglund, but after some soreness after his start against Mississippi State, missing last week's start, I think Mike Bianco probably acting out of an abundance of caution. 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 9 strikeouts, and no walks. And was just absolutely dominant. He retired the last 15 hitters that he faced. Gave up a leadoff single in the 2nd inning, and then retired the next 15 Gamecocks to come to the plate. So Josiah Seitler will lead things off for South Carolina here in the top of the 7th. You know the Gamecocks are happy to see somebody besides number 17 on the mound.
That's exactly right. Sometimes it's when a pitcher's that dominant, even if you've got a great pitcher coming in for him, it's good to see someone else.
We certainly didn't see anything or don't know anything to believe that there was any reason to pull Hoglund other than the fact that he just was almost perfect. First pitch, first hitter that Derek Diamond faces, and South Carolina is on the board as Josiah Seitler goes deep for the 6th time this year and for the 2nd time in SEC play, and South Carolina is on the board with a solo home run.
Looks like it's that low and in pitch that a lot of lefties love. Seitler stays down on it and really powers it out to the right center gap. Good swings from Seitler. And if you're a South Carolina fan, you got to hope that gets your offense, gives them a little bit of a spark going into the latter portion of this game.
So Josiah Seitler gets South Carolina on the board, and now Wes Clark, who is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Clark leads this South Carolina team in home runs, and he takes a first pitch strike from Derek Diamond. Wes Clark, 15 home runs on the year, 35 runs batted in. 12 of his 15 have come in non-conference games. He's got 3 in league play. 0-2. Another good slider there from Derek Diamond. Right-hander Tyler Myers throwing in the bullpen.
This is similar to how Hoglund attacked Allen. Clark. A lot of sliders on the outside portion of the plate.
That's 3 in a row. Clark lays off that one for ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Wes Clark. Clark fouls it off the opposite way, hits it a long way foul. That's another pitch coming for Wes Clark.
Diamond tried to sneak a fastball by him there, tried to put it in the same tunnel that he's been throwing his sliders and just keep it on that outside corner.
Clark had 8 home runs and 16 starts last year as a sophomore for South Carolina. As a freshman back in 2019, he played in only 19 games, had 11 starts, hit 1 home run in 2019. It's been a big piece of the offense for the Gamecocks since then. Drafted out of high school by the Milwaukee Brewers in the 40th round. Just missed with the fastball. I think Hayden Dunhurst thought that was strike 3.
He had a little extra pause there that would seem to indicate that was the case.
Swing and a miss. Got him with a breaking ball on the outside part of the plate. First strikeout for Derek Diamond.
Great pitch from Diamond. To be able to go to a breaking ball in a 3-2 count like that, you have to think Clark was sitting fastball, and to be able to throw a breaking ball right on the corner like that. just shows you the amount of command and control that and confidence that Diamond has in his breaking ball.
Here's Andrew Eister. He has one of South Carolina's 2 hits in a game. Singled in the 2nd inning. And after that, 15 in a row retired by Gunnar Hoglund. That string was snapped with Josiah Seitler's solo home run. Diamond shakes off the first signal. Goes fastball there. Tied him up inside.
Good pitch mix from Diamond there. He's thrown a lot of sliders outside to be able to run it back up and in just to get the hitter, just to make the hitter not be able to lean out over expecting the slider. Good pitch decision there.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Eister goes down swinging. So after the solo home run, back-to-back strikeouts for Derek Diamond. They're 2 out in the 7th.
Another good slider there from Diamond. And really, I think the pitch before really sets it up. Changing the eye level, getting the hitter a little uncomfortable, coming right back to that slider on the outside corner.
Two down, bases empty for the left-handed hitting first baseman David Mendham. Mendham 0 for 2 tonight. He struck out looking in the 2nd inning and grounded out to his counterpart Cale Baker at first to start the 5th inning. Takes fastball away for ball 1. May have slipped out of the hand from Derek Diamond. 2-0 as he goes to the rosin bag. Diamond with the semi-old school look with his pants. Not all the way down to the ankles, not pulled up to the knees. Got the real stirrups to go with him.
You don't see that look very often anymore.
No.
In fact, you see kind of more of the extremes. You see some guys going above the knee now. You see guys tucking them into their spikes, but you don't see the tweeners look much.
Greg Maddux might have worn his a little bit higher than that, but that's kind of the look. 3-0. Fouled away. Green light on a 3-0 fastball for strike 1 to David Mendham. Of course, Greg Maddux would also be getting 8 inches off the outside corner called strikes.
That's exactly right.
With 84 mile-an-hour fastballs, maybe.
He could definitely. He knew when he was getting the outside call, and he could definitely exploit it.
The 3-1. There's a strike on the outside corner, and the count goes full now to David Mendham. Leadoff solo home run for Josiah Seitler got South Carolina on the board here in the top of the 7th inning. It's now 5-1. Clark struck out swinging, so did Eister. And now a full count pitch coming to David Mendham. That was a borderline pitch, and with Hoglund not able to catch it, not much of a shot at getting that call. So a 2-out walk. Just the 3rd base runner of the game for South Carolina, and the first walk.
That's exactly right. A frontier that we're learning more and more about in baseball is catcher framing, and the ability that the catcher has to impact an umpire's decisions on balls that are either on the corner or just slightly off. How they receive it matters a lot.
And in fairness, that is not a pitch that Eric Gaucher really has given tonight. That fastball at the bottom of the strike zone or just below. So might not have gotten the call regardless. Braylon Wimmer 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a flyout, and Diamond behind in the count again, 2-0. And that's one thing we did not see with Gunnar Hoglund. He worked ahead for 6 solid innings.
That's exactly right. We felt like we saw a lot of two-strike counts for South Carolina hitters. He was getting ahead early with both his slider and his fastball.
2-1. Fouled back, and the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Vandy up 10-2 over Florida in the 6th inning. Alabama has come all the way back and has taken a 9-8 lead over Missouri in the 7th. Auburn and Georgia have gone to extras in Athens, tied at 3. Texas A&M leading Mississippi State 4-3 in the 6th inning in Starkville. Here in Oxford, it's 5-1. Ole Miss with the lead over South Carolina. The 2-2 fouled back again. Two finals in the SEC. Kentucky with an 8-2 win over Tennessee to split that series at a game apiece. They'll play the deciding game tomorrow at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. And Arkansas gets game 1 from LSU down in Baton Rouge, 7-0. Swing and a miss. Oh, it was a foul tip, and Hoglund was not able to hang on. So Wimmer stays alive at the plate. Saw a little frustration from Dunhurst behind the plate. He thought he should have been able to squeeze that one. So another 2-2 coming to Wimmer. Pulls it foul down the third baseline. Backhanded by Justin Bench in foul territory. That's Stuart Lake coaching third base for South Carolina, former assistant for Mike Bianco. Left Ole Miss to become a head coach and then went back to South Carolina. Worked on Ray Tanner's staff years and years ago. Great guy. 2-2 pitch, fouled back. See Stuart Lake. That's what he was part of here at Ole Miss. The Western Division title in 05, the 06 SEC tournament champions, 130 wins in the time that he was on Mike Bianco's staff here at Ole Miss. Strike 3 called. Wimmer goes away looking on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball on the black.
Great pitch here by Diamond to get, after a number of sliders, to go right back to the fastball and catch the outside corner.
Stretch time at Swayze. Ole Miss leading 5-1. Best seat in the house right there on Daddy's shoulders as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Ole Miss 5, South Carolina 1. Gamecocks got their first run of the game. A solo home run to start the 7th inning off of Derek Diamond. Solo shot by Josiah Seitler was his 6th of the year. Here's TJ McCants. Took ball 1. McCants had a sacrifice fly, picked up an RBI back in the first inning. He takes ball 2 there. Single to right and stole a base in the 3rd. Flew out to right in the 4th inning. Chopper. Throw to first, not in time. TJ McCants can really run.
That's part of what makes this Ole Miss lineup so tough too, because you got a guy like McCants that's such a great hitter, and you make a good pitch, get soft contact, and you bobble the ball once, and he's able to beat it out.
That's one of those you gotta hurry, and everything has to be perfect on a big bouncer like that. And McCants able to beat it out.
That's exactly right. As a pitcher, you know that when the ball's in the air, you got to get rid of it. And you almost think he was thinking about getting rid of it before he threw it.
So here's Cale Baker, 0 for 3, and swings over the top of a breaking ball for strike 1. Baker fly out, strikeout, and a ground out. 2 home runs in non-conference games this year for Cale Baker. Missed the opening weekend of the season with COVID issues. He missed a couple of weeks with a hamate injury.
That's a tough injury for a hitter as well. Anything with your hands just prevents the amount of time you're hitting. Is such a feel talent, and so anytime you don't have the ability to practice, you get out of rhythm. It's tough it takes a little time to recover from.
Might have been a little closer than McCants over at first base would have liked. Didn't have much of a lead, and he just kind of went back in standing up. And got a quick word from Chris Cleary, the first base coach. The 0-2 to Baker. He gets a high fly ball. Allen on the run toward the right center field gap. He'll make the catch there for the first out of the inning. Allen's played a good center field. Had a diving catch early in the ball game to rob Justin Bench of a base hit.
He can certainly cover a lot of ground out there. That's a slightly tougher play than it looks like because the ball's tailing off the bat of a right-handed hitter.
South Carolina keeping an eye on McCants, who does have a stolen base tonight. He's perfect, 5 of 5 on the year. All 5 of his stolen bases have come in SEC play. Hayden Leatherwood tonight, 2 for 3. Both of his base hits past the first baseman. Got a double down into the right field corner to start the second inning, and singled in the 5th. Thanks, fastball strike. The count goes to 1-1.
And we talk about McCants' ability to steal. We see him consulting with Coach Cleary down the line here. Anymore, teams have such good scouting reports, not only on the pitcher's strengths and weaknesses, but also on their times to home plate, their pickoff move.
McCants read that one down, got a little bit of a late jump. Not a great throw. It gets out into center field, and then McCants' late decision decided to stay put at second. So that'll be a wild pitch rather than a stolen base for McCants. If he goes right away, he's probably standing on third base, but
tough decision. You're already in scoring position. If you're questioning it, stick at second. You're in scoring position with one out.
2-2 now to Hayden Leatherwood.
That ability that you see to move up on balls in the dirt, on any sort of wild pitch, on any pitch that's just not well received, is what you see in good base running teams. It's not always about leading the conference in steals. It's about taking free bases when you can get them.
This ball lifted to left. Myers moving over toward the line, all the way to the edge of the warning track. He makes the catch, and now McCants tags and takes third. Now the flip side of not getting to third base on the previous play when the ball got into center field is that cost Ole Miss a run, but good base running there from McCants on the fly out by Leatherwood for the second out of the inning.
You don't often see a runner on second tag up on a fly ball to left field, but he made a good read on that it was tailing towards the line off the left-handed hitter, was hit a little deeper, and was able to get to third base.
So now Kemp Alderman comes to the plate. Tough night at the dish for Alderman. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, but he does have a run scored. Reached on a wild pitch, got to second on the throwing error in the third inning, and then scored on the single from Jacob Gonzalez. Got a breaking ball that time. That was a better swing on a slider. With lefty Gilreath on the mound, it's now a slider, though, that's breaking into his hands as opposed to away from him.
This is why we see platoons being implemented more so at the major league level. Easier to see a left-handed pitcher for a right-handed bat, especially with that breaking ball that is now breaking into the barrel of the bat rather than away from it.
1-1 now to Alderman. Big swing there. 1-2. He has not seen a fastball on this at bat. South Carolina's had a pretty good plan with him. It was three or four straight breaking balls in the first at bat of the game. And then in each of the last 2 at bats, in the 4th inning and the 5th inning, they opened him with kind of a show me fastball, and then it was all breaking balls for the remainder of the at bat. Breaking ball there, swings over the top of it. Kemp Alderman is now 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Rebel strand a runner at third. It's 5-1 after 7. 5 runs, 9 hits tonight for Ole Miss. A run, a couple of hits, and 2 errors for South Carolina as we go to the top of the 8th inning. Ole Miss has made a defensive change. Hayden Leatherwood comes out of the game. John Rice Plumlee goes into right field.
Plumlee is an elite outfielder, defensive outfielder. We saw some really nice plays, including one that saved a run in the Thursday night game against LSU, where he was able to get a tagging runner at going from first to second before the runner scored from third.
First pitch strike to Brennan Malone. Beg your pardon. They are pinch hitting here for Malone. That is Joe Satterfield, senior from Greenville, South Carolina. He's behind in the count 0-2. The numbers for Satterfield, hitting .241 on the year. Brennan Malone was 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Outside with the fastball there. If you're joining us late, Gunnar Hoglund, 6 innings of 1-hit baseball. Struck out 9, did not walk a batter. Derek Diamond came in the 7th, gave up a leadoff solo home run, got a couple of strikeouts, walked a batter, and then 1 more strikeout to end the inning. Chopper left side. Bench has to come a long way over and then flips it across the diamond for the first out of the inning. That's a good play by Justin Bench. Sunday, the Rally Cap crew breaks down the week that was in baseball and softball with highlights, analysis, and interviews. They'll also get you set with a look ahead at the upcoming week's best matchups. Rally Cap, 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Sunday night right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Dari in studio with Madison Shipman and David DeLucci from their satellite studios, also known as their houses. First pitch, ball 1 to George Khalil. Good hard slider there from Derek Diamond. Count evens at 1-1 to Khalil, who struck out in the third. And he popped out to first in foul ground in the 6th inning. Ole Miss got 2 runs in the bottom of the 1st inning. They added 3 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. South Carolina got its only run solo shot in the top of the 7th from Josiah Seitler, his 6th home run of the year, 2nd in an SEC game. 1 out, bases empty for George Khalil.
Diamond pitching a little bit backwards in this at-bat. Started off with 3 breaking balls, then tries to finish Khalil with a high fastball there. Just missed up in the zone.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Late on the fastball that time. That's the 4th strikeout for Derek Diamond since entering, and there are 2 out in the 8th.
Good pitch there from Diamond. High fastball after a number of breaking balls. He's thrown so many breaking balls that the hitter has to respect that pitch. He's able to sneak a fastball by him at the top of the zone.
Now Noah Myers in the 9-hole 0 for 2. Told you earlier, Myers making his first SEC start, 3rd start of the season. He's got the 1 home run with 4 driven in. That hurts.
That doesn't feel good. You see that he's rocking the Evo shield on his front leg, but it often seems to find the spot that is not covered by the Evo shield.
Ball and a strike to Myers. Just outside for ball 2. Two out, top of the 8th inning. Ole Miss leading 5-1. Derek Diamond trying to have a 1-2-3 inning. That one's fouled away, and the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So 6 innings for Gunnar Hoglund. And now Derek Diamond trying to finish this game out tonight for Mike Bianco. After he gave up the home run, Tyler Myers got up in the bullpen, but sat back down pretty quickly. The 2-2. Strike 3 called. That's 5 strikeouts in 2 innings for Derek Diamond in relief, and Ole Miss will carry a 5-1 lead into the bottom of the 8th. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Gunnar Hoglund, the starter tonight for Ole Miss, in complete control. He gave up 1 hit and struck out 9. Rebels got on the board early with a couple of runs. In the bottom of the 1st inning, Hayden Dunhurst with an RBI single. Justin Bench off the glove of the 3rd baseman Malone scored a couple of runs. Rebels put 3 on the board in the bottom of the 4th. Only run of the game for South Carolina. Solo home run for Josiah Seitler. 5-1. So the Gamecocks will have to have at least 4 runs in the top of the 9th inning. Ole Miss looking for some insurance. Thomas Farr, the starter for the Gamecocks, 5 innings, 4 earned runs. And you again see the line for Hoglund. Jacob Gonzalez goes after the first pitch, grounds it right side for the first out in the bottom of the 8th. Wimmer makes the play for the first out of the inning, and now Peyton Chatinier comes to the plate. Chatinier does not have a hit tonight. A pop out in the first inning, couple of walks in the second and the fourth, and a fielder's choice to end the 5th inning. Chatinier, a huge part of the come-from-behind win against LSU in Game 3 on Saturday afternoon. He hit a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 8th inning. Then McCants hit a grand slam to tie the game at 9. Rebels went into the bottom of the 8th, trailing 9-1. And Kemp Alderman walked it off with an opposite field home run on the first pitch of the bottom of the 9th.
I don't know. I didn't get to look at any win probability charts, but you have to imagine they were pretty low going into the bottom of the 8th inning there.
Certainly less than 10, maybe less than 5, and maybe point something, down 8 with 6 outs remaining.
You might not be at 8% with down 8 with 6 outs remaining.
Oh, 2 to Chatinier. Peyton Chatinier's got 2 home runs on the year, but they have both come in big, big moments. In the 8th inning on the road in Tuscaloosa against Alabama, with Ole Miss trailing in that game. And then in the 8th against LSU.
He's a guy that always seems to do well with runners on base as well. Just seems to have a knack for putting together tough at-bats, putting the bat on the ball in big-time situations.
Strikes out there, chase one out of the zone. That is the second strikeout for John Gilreath since coming in.
And Gilreath gets Chatinier to chase one there. I believe that was the changeup. Gilreath has done a good job in his 2 2/3 innings of work. It's always important when you're down to have relievers that can come in and keep the deficit small, give your offense a chance to get back in the game.
Well, and has also preserved the bullpen for South Carolina. I mean, Mark Kingston may have stayed with Thomas Farr a little longer than some would have, but he's going to be in really good shape going into games 2 and 3. South Carolina only uses 2 pitchers in this game.
On Friday night, you kind of have to plan for your weekend and evaluate the game as it's going through. You certainly want to go get the win, but you also want to preserve your bullpen if you're not in the best position to go get that win.
Kevin Graham hits a fly ball to center field on the run to the warning track. Catch made. Brady Allen makes another nice play as Kevin Graham just missed his 9th home run of the year. South Carolina got to have 4 in the 9th. You want to know how important Ole Miss thinks this game is? Taylor Broadway coming in with a 4-run lead in the top of the 9th inning. Not a save situation for Broadway. He's 4-1 on the year with a 3.04 ERA, 36 strikeouts in 26 2/3. This is the guy that Mike Bianco believes can slam the door.
Broadway comes with a fastball that's a true backspin fastball. It appears to rise on hitters. It's also got a very good break. He pairs that with a very good breaking ball. The Ole Miss coaches love him because they know he fills up the zone with strikes. He's only got 5 walks in his 26 2/3 innings pitched. That's a very valuable trait for a reliever, just to know that you have that sort of consistency when you call his number in the bullpen.
And it's a South Carolina that's got a ton of long ball power. You see the line for Derek Diamond: 2 innings, 42 pitches, a hit, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, and a walk. Ole Miss and South Carolina made the decision to play a doubleheader tomorrow. Forecast is not great on Sunday, and maybe even more importantly than that, South Carolina's got some travel restrictions. They flew commercially into Memphis and have a flight, and so they're kind of limited in the event that weather becomes an issue. And so game 1 tomorrow will be at 1:30, and then game 2 will not start before 6 p.m. It'll either be 6 p.m. or 50 minutes after the conclusion of game 1. Game 1 will be on the SEC Network Plus. Game 2 tomorrow night on SEC Network. By the way, spikes the breaking ball there for ball 1. Vanderbilt leading over Florida in Gainesville, trying to get game 1 of the series. They're up 10-4 in the 7th inning. Alabama now leading 11-8 over Missouri in the 8th. They're now in the 12th inning in Athens with Auburn and Georgia tied at 3. That breaking ball stays up. Texas A&M leading 7-6 over Mississippi State. Aggies scored 3 runs in the top of the 7th inning. Mississippi State has answered with 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th. Aggies trying to get game 1 of that series. Kentucky beat Tennessee 8-2, and Arkansas beat LSU 7-0. Popped a mile into the air and out of play.
That's a good picture of how Broadway likes to finish hitters off as well. He throws that high fastball at the top of the zone, really backspins it. Fastball appears to be rising. That's why it's so tough for hitters to hit it at the top of the zone. Good job by Allen to get a piece and stay alive.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Base is empty, and Allen once again fouls it off to stay alive at the plate. You got to believe that Mike Bianco would love for this to be an efficient 9th inning for Taylor Broadway. With a doubleheader tomorrow, I mean, Broadway certainly has shown the ability to come back on short rest. Pitch multiple days in a row, or at least 2 days in a row. Saw him in the doubleheader that Ole Miss played with Alabama, pitch twice on the same day. Strike 3 called. Paints the outside corner with a slider. Brady Allen goes down looking. He's 0 for 4. That's the first time he struck out tonight.
Beautiful pitch by Broadway there, right on the outside corner. Tough pitch, especially after Broadway has thrown a couple fastballs.
Now Josiah Seitler, who hit a solo home run in the 7th inning. It was the 2nd hit of the game for South Carolina and the only run the Gamecocks have scored. Pretty good pitch. Seitler able to hold up on the swing, but it was called ball 1. Chopper foul, first base side. One ball and 2 strikes now to Seitler.
We've seen good command of both the breaking ball and the fastball from Broadway tonight. Part of what makes him special and so dynamic is a late inning reliever.
1-2. Just off the plate. The count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes to Josiah Seitler. Gamecocks 11-7 in the SEC. Ole Miss 10-8 in league play. Rebels trying to get game one of a series for the first time since week 2. There's a swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts from Taylor Broadway of Allen and Seitler at the top of the order to start the ninth.
And that's good pairing with the breaking ball he threw the pitch before. Just a fastball at the top of the zone. Tough pitch for a hitter to lay off of, and tough pitch for a hitter to get on top of and make solid contact with.
Two out, bases empty for Wes Clark, who has had a tough night at the dish. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Big swing there. Comes up empty on the breaking ball down for strike 1. Coming into tonight, 44 strikeouts this year for Wes Clark. So you live with that sum with the power numbers, and you can see the pop in his bat even as he fouls that one away. Ball goes a long way off the bat of Wes Clark. With the 3 tonight, he's got 47 strikeouts and 135 at bats. Ole Miss fans on their feet looking for a game 1 win. The pitch called strike 3. Clark goes away looking. Taylor Broadway finishes it off, and Ole Miss takes game 1 against South Carolina. The Gamecocks fall to 1-6 on the year in series opening games in conference play, and Ole Miss gets its first win to open a series since Alabama in week 2 of league play.
Good start to the series for the Rebels. That sets them up well going in tomorrow. It's good to get a little momentum to start the series and not have to be fighting from behind as they have the last 4 weekends.
Ole Miss scored early with a couple of runs in the first. They added 3 in the fourth. That was all the offense Ole Miss would need. Gunnar Hoglund absolutely dominant. 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs allowed. He struck out 9. Long day of baseball coming your way tomorrow from here at Swayze Field. Game 1 of the doubleheader begins at 1:30. Game 2 scheduled for 6 o'clock or 50 minutes after the conclusion of game number 1. For our entire SEC Network crew here in Oxford and my partner Billy Kirkpatrick, I'm Richard Cross. Ole Miss wins game 1, 5-1. Good night from Swayze.